nursing and innovation coexist together in such a beautiful way. And I really do think that nurses are in an optimal position to innovate and to, really use their clinical expertise, their patient interaction, just to improve healthcare and to really inform meaningful change.
Hello, everyone. I'm Angela Rosa DiDonato.
And I'm Marian Leary.
And you're listening to Amplify Nursing, a Penn Nursing podcast supported by the Panola Fund for Innovation in Nursing.
Amplify Nursing features nurses who are leading the way in science, policy, and innovation.
Our guests defy stereotypes, define practice, and disrupt convention.
We highlight the breadth and depth of nursing influence on society by amplifying nurses who are pushing boundaries and breaking down barriers to build a new paradigm.
Today on Amplify Nursing, we talk with Jonathan Zhu, a rising senior BSN student at the University of Pennsylvania School of Nursing. As an assistant in the Department of Innovation at Penn Nursing, John has worked on various projects, including the Design Thinking for Health platform, Penn Nursing Innovation Accelerator, and the Penn Nursing Story Slam. John has also participated in numerous healthcare hackathons, including Nurse Hack for Health, Jefferson Health Hack, MIT Health Equity, and more. John talks to us today about what drew him to nursing and nursing innovation, the importance of nursing innovation in nursing education, and why nursing students should participate in hackathons.
So, John, I'm super excited to talk with you today. Thanks for being on the Amplify Nursing podcast.
Hi, Marian. I'm really excited to be here today. Really looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, so we always start off all of our podcast episodes with asking our guests to just introduce themselves and how they got into nursing. So tell us your story.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm John. I'm about to be a rising senior BSN student at Penn Nursing. And really, I think what brought me to nursing was just, some very fortunate events that happened in high school. My first exposure to nursing came through volunteering in high school, where I was at a hospital and just was able to observe a lot of nurses in action, and also at a local senior home, where I was able to interact and engage with not only nurses, but a lot of the senior residents. And I think it was through these experiences that, I first came to realize what nursing really was, and started to sort of appreciate, the empathy that nurses have and their ability to, really care for people who are really in need. So I'd say volunteering in high school was just a really important factor that sort of introduced me to nursing. And I think apart from that, also just coming to Penn Nursing during my high school career to sort of shadow and see what the program was about was really exciting. And I think seeing the fact that nursing is such a needed profession right now and how the US healthcare is really growing and in need of nurses, I think, just made me more interested in becoming a nurse.
What was it about nursing or what you saw during your volunteer time or at Penn Nursing that got you so excited?
Yeah, I think one thing was really just the ability to, help others and sort of see, right in front of you how people were really grateful or when people sort of had improved outcomes. I think it was really gratifying to be able to sort of see your work or, your efforts being appreciated, right then and there. And I think also coming to Penn Nursing, what was so exciting was just seeing how passionate students were and all the, I think the pre-professional aspect of nursing at Penn is really something that drew my attention because, you get so much clinical experience, you get so much simulation experience, and it's really something that, I thought would be a good career choice for me.
So you mentioned that you're a rising senior. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You and I have been working together for probably, I think, maybe a year now. So you're our innovation assistant for the Penn Nursing Innovation Program. What was it about innovation in healthcare or innovation in nursing that you knew you wanted to get involved with, and how did that play out?
Yeah, it's, sort of funny thinking back on it now because I think my first interaction with Penn Nursing Innovation was actually listening to some Amplify Nursing podcast episodes the summer that COVID first started, which I believe was 2020. So during that summer, I remember listening to, some episodes and I was like, wow, like, nursing innovations, or I guess like nursing is more than just, clinical like bedside stuff. And there's so many different career options or so many different paths you can go with your like clinical expertise. And afterwards, I remember seeing, the opportunity for becoming an innovation assistant through an email newsletter. And so I was just really eager to reach out and get involved just to learn more about nursing innovation because I think at that point, honestly, I wasn't completely sure what it entailed, but it seemed like a very promising area and I just wanted to get to learn more.
So wait, it's come full circle. You learned about
Yeah.
nursing innovation through the Amplify Nursing podcast, and now you're on the Amplify Nursing podcast. That's so cool.
Yeah, I feel really fortunate that it's worked out this way.
Well, and we should also let our listeners know that John is the one who helps us with all the production work for the podcast. So he writes some of our intros, he mixes in the different components and the music. We couldn't do the Amplify Nursing podcast without John. So really grateful for all of his help with this podcast, and really excited again to have you on the podcast and be able to learn more about how this all came together.
Yeah, and I just want to thank you, Marian, also for, introducing me to, everything, about nursing innovation because honestly, without that initial position, I think, I wouldn't probably be here today, like talking about nursing innovation and, all the experiences that I've had the opportunity to go through like over this past year.
And let's talk about that because you really have jumped right into the innovation world. And you are, to me, it feels like a very big vocal proponent of nurses getting involved in innovation, whether it's in hackathons. You participated in the Nurse Hack for Health and then have written about that for the American Nurse Online Journal. You just wrote a really great article for the Penn Nursing magazine entitled The Case for Innovation, Education, and Nursing School. So let's talk through some of these. Like, what is it about innovation that makes you want to sort of amplify it to others in the profession, to your other student colleagues?
Yeah, so I think first of all, one thing that I've realized over the past year is just that nursing and innovation coexist together in such a beautiful way. And I really do think that nurses are in an optimal position to innovate and to, really use their clinical expertise, their patient interaction, just to improve healthcare and to really inform meaningful change. So I think, in terms of education, innovation education in nursing school, there's a lot that can be done to really like increase the visibility of nursing innovation. And part of that just comes through, all the resources that are available already at Penn Nursing, for example, for students to get involved, whether it's through the Innovation Accelerator or, listening to Amplify Nursing episodes, or also, just taking the Foundations of Health course that is really focused on design thinking and helps nurses to sort of get an intro to what innovation is about. So I think, these opportunities exist, and I just feel like if they were more visible for nursing students as a whole, it would really benefit, students and nursing students, and also just, the nursing profession as a whole.
So you mentioned the Innovation in Health Foundations Design Thinking course, which is a course that I teach at Penn Nursing, but is open to all students across the university. Can you give a little background to some of our listeners who might not be as familiar with what design thinking is and how you learned about it in the class and how it can be used in practice?
Yeah, for sure. So basically, the design thinking process is, a human-centered design process with 5 stages. So it all starts with the empathy stage, which is, where you really connect with the users and the patients about, what their needs are. And from there, you move on to the define stage. And this is where you try to sort of like condense your problem into a clear problem statement. And then from there, there's the ideate stage where you begin thinking about possible solutions to address your problem statement. And then the next stage is the prototype stage where you begin to create products of different levels of complexity. It can be a really simple thing sometimes, but you just create something that you can eventually test, which is the final stage. And I think it's important to emphasize that the design thinking process is iterative. So it's not necessarily a linear, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but oftentimes, you need to always go back to the empathy stage to make sure that at each phase of the process, you're connecting with your end users and stakeholders to make sure that what you're creating is ultimately really useful and feasible to implement.
So you're a lot closer to clinical practice than I am. I haven't practiced clinically in quite some time. And I hear often from students who have taken the class that the human-centered design thinking approach, the class itself, has really changed the way that they think about their practice. What do you think it is about the human-centered design methodology that really fits nicely with the work we do as nurses?
Yeah, I think, in terms of the design thinking process and its parallels with nursing, it's actually very closely tied to the nursing process, which you conduct an assessment of the patient, which is very similar to the empathy stage. And then you diagnose the main problems, paralleling with the define stage. Then you create a plan of care, which is sort of like ideating. Then you implement nursing interventions, prototype, and finally you go back and like evaluate the patient, which is similar to the test stage. And so I think really it's or learning about design thinking just helps nursing students to get a clearer sense and perhaps see it in a more organized way of how their clinical practice and how they can really use critical thinking on their units and in their patient interactions. So I think that's why innovation education in particular can be so helpful, even just for clinical situations.
Hi, we hope you're enjoying this episode, and we'll be back with more in a few minutes after this quick break.
Hello, listeners. If you want to read John's story, The Case for Innovation Education in Nursing School, check out the spring 2022 issue of Penn Nursing Magazine. The current issue of the Penn Nursing Magazine features stories exploring the ways students are engaging in the community, the importance of preceptors, a look at the future of the Center for Global Women's Health, and of course, the historic investment to Penn Nursing by Leonard Lauder to create a tuition-free program to prepare nurse practitioners to provide primary care in underserved communities in the U.S. Finally, you'll also find original student art and a spotlight on a few of the Amy Gutman Leadership Scholars. You can read the magazine on our website at nursing.upenn.edu. Enjoy! So you have one more year of nursing school. What do you think your focus is going to be once you graduate? And how do you think you'll use the innovation and human-centered design education that you've received over the past few years to help guide you in your practice?
Yeah, I think that's a really good question that I've also been thinking about recently in terms of, future career, because I know that I'm definitely very interested in, nurse-led innovation and like healthcare innovation in general. But, recently one of my friends who read the article that I published actually asked me a question, which was, what exactly does a career in innovation entail? And I thought about it for a bit. And I started to realize that innovation is really, more of a mindset rather than a career per se. So I feel like innovation as a mindset can be applied to, a number of different areas, whether it's clinical nursing, whether it's research, policy, entrepreneurship. And so I think, where I'm at right now is I'm interested in a few different things. I think in particular, pursuing research would be, something that I want to do, but it's still at a relatively early stage. And I just know that no matter what I end up deciding to do, that I'll want to, or also hopefully be able to implement, these innovation just principles that I've learned.
Well, John, it's now May 4th and summer's coming. Do you have any summer plans to help you relax and get ready for your senior year?
Oh yeah. I think after going through junior year, which has definitely been quite a busy school year, I'm going to be going home for a few weeks, first of all, just to get some rest and spend time with family. And afterwards, I'll be in Philly for this summer actually. So I'll be working on like a few different research projects, continuing to work in innovation as well. One thing in particular actually is I'll be working as a research assistant for this Center for Healthcare Innovation project, where they're trying to improve sleep quality for patients in the neuro unit. So I'm really just looking forward to that and learning more about how, innovation is applied, in practice, and like how, an actual like innovation project takes place and all the different, stages involved.
That's great. I don't think I knew that. So congratulations. John, is there anything else that we didn't discuss that you'd like to mention?
I think, I would just like to talk a bit about my hackathon experience, because I think getting involved with, hackathons at first was one of the initial things that helped me to tangibly realize, what innovation was like, especially, nursing innovation. And I think my first innovation experience, or my first hackathon experience at Nurse Hack for Health, was really helpful for me, because in working with nurses and nurses of all different backgrounds, developers, social workers, public health experts, I think it really helped me to just appreciate, health and healthcare issues from multiple different perspectives. And that's something that sort of stuck with me, even now. And I think, having these different lens is really valuable for making sure that, we're not just addressing one side of a problem, but rather that all different perspectives, all different stakeholders are involved in the process.
And for folks who don't know what a hackathon is, can you describe what that entails?
Yeah, so a hackathon is essentially it's usually an event that takes place over the span of a weekend. So, starting on Friday evening, for example, and then there's usually like a final presentation on Sunday afternoon. And basically with, healthcare hackathons, there's, different topics, and people generate like problem statements and populations that they want to solve for. And then, interdisciplinary teams will form naturally based on, what you're interested in. And these teams will work together over, the course of this hackathon to create a minimally viable product, which they'll ultimately present on the last day of the event.
And I know you've written about this topic as well, but why do you think it's so important for nursing students to be involved in hackathons? Because, I help run the Nurse Hack for Health, and we don't get that many nursing students. We get a few, and you've been one of our biggest supporters of it. But why do you think other nursing students should be involved, and why is it so important to have that student perspective?
Yeah, I think hackathons are just really great for nursing students and, people who are new to innovation in general, because as it occurs like over the course of, 2 to 3 days, I think you really just learn a lot about innovation in a condensed amount of time. And after you learn about, the principles of innovation and design thinking initially, to really apply them and experience them during an event like a hackathon is really helpful and sort of brings the experience to life. And I think you learn to just appreciate how, design thinking really does work. And, building like human-centered projects is something that will ultimately lead to lasting and meaningful impact. So I think, for nursing students also, participating in nursing and healthcare hackathons is quite accessible. These opportunities exist, and I think it's just really something that all nursing students should look to participate in and take advantage of.
I couldn't agree more. Well, John, it has been an absolute pleasure learning more about you, about your path into nursing, and just hearing about how innovation and design thinking has really affected your nursing school career. So thank you again so much for sharing your journey and time with us. And I look forward to working with you over the next year until you graduate and go out and spread more nurse-led innovation into the world.
Thank you so much for having me again, Marian. And yep, I'm definitely looking forward to this next year, and also hopefully even beyond that, just continuing to work in nursing innovation and looking to advance the field of nursing as a whole.
Hello, Angela.
Hello, Marian.
How's it going?
It's amazing. How are you?
So good. I really, really, really enjoyed my conversation with John. He really embodies what I hope our students get out of the innovation work that we're trying to do at Penn Nursing. He's really engaged. He gets it. He's excited about it. And he wants to tell everyone why innovation in nursing should really be a thing, which I really appreciate.
Yeah, I think that he is really a great example of what I hope is the future of nursing.
Yeah, it's so true. And, obviously we were focusing on innovation, and he was talking about how he got involved in nursing and then how he really got involved in thinking about innovation in this way. And I thought what he said at one point was really smart. Like, a friend of his asked how you get a job as a nurse in innovation. And he said that he's been thinking about it, and innovation isn't just one thing. He really wants to take the innovation knowledge and methodologies he's learned over the last couple of years and apply that to whatever discipline he works in. And I just thought that was really spot on. And I hope that all of our nursing students and nurses who are now starting to dabble in innovation in health and healthcare really get that, these are tools and resources and knowledge that we can be using in all the areas we practice, not just clinically, but like I always say, in research, education, policy, wherever.
Yeah, agreed. I think that's what makes John special, is that he's able to see that for what it is, and it's not just another little silo that you could plug yourself into.
Yeah, exactly. And he's so good at talking about it and writing about it. He really, like, coming on this podcast and talking about it, but he also has written a couple of articles now that we mention in the podcast. I hope everybody reads about his enthusiasm for these topics and why other students should get involved. And, it's one thing when you hear faculty and staff and whomever talk about these things, but it's another thing when you hear your peer talking about all of the ways that you can get involved in these activities around innovation. And so I'm really glad that he's willing to be a prophet for innovation in nursing as well. So one thing we should say is that this is the last episode for this semester for season 5, and we'll be back, I guess, in
the fall.
In the fall, sometime September, probably.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So make sure you go back and listen to all of our past Amplify Nursing episodes. We have seasons 1 through 5 that will be up on our website, and make sure you check them out.
Amplify Nursing is hosted by Dr. Angela Rosa DiDonato and Marion Leary, and produced by the University of Pennsylvania School of Nursing, with special thanks to Jonathan Zhu for his assistance. Music for the podcast was created by Harper Leary. The podcast is made possible by the Krista and Rich Pinola Fund for Innovation in Nursing.
Follow us on Twitter at Penn Nursing. Until next time, keep pushing over, under, around, and through. We want to thank you for listening to the Amplify Nursing podcast and remind you to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or wherever you enjoy your podcast listening. And if you can do us a solid, please rate and review us as well. It will go a long way in amplifying our episodes.